For years, millions of computer users around the world have lived inside the world of Microsoft Windows. For many people, Windows is not just an operating system, it is the computer. From the moment they first learned how to click the Start menu, open a browser, install a program, and shut down the system, Windows became the familiar environment where everything simply happens. School computers run Windows. Office computers run Windows. Gaming PCs run Windows. The entire experience of using a computer often becomes synonymous with Windows itself. And because of that familiarity, the idea of switching to Linux can feel strange, intimidating, or even unnecessary. Many Windows users hear the word Linux and immediately imagine something complicated. They picture black terminal windows full of cryptic commands. They imagine programmers typing mysterious text like hackers in movies. They think Linux is only for developers, system administrators, or people who enjoy tinkering endlessly with computers. To the average Windows user who simply wants to browse the internet, watch videos, edit documents, or play games, Linux seems distant, almost like a different universe that normal users aren't meant to enter. But something interesting happens the moment a Windows user actually tries Linux with an open mind. At first, the experience might feel unfamiliar. The desktop looks different, the menus are arranged differently. Instead of downloading programs from random websites, the system introduces something called a package manager or software store. File systems are organized in a different way. But slowly, piece by piece, the experience starts to make sense. The confusion begins to fade. And then, eventually, a moment arrives. A moment when the Windows user suddenly gets Linux. That moment doesn't always come immediately. In fact, it often comes after a series of small discoveries. Maybe it begins when the user installs a beginner-friendly Linux distribution like Ubuntu. When someone boots into Ubuntu for the first time, they quickly realize that Linux is not the scary hacker environment they imagined. Ubuntu greets them with a clean desktop, a simple dock, and a friendly welcome screen that guides them through the basics. Wi-Fi connects automatically. The browser opens instantly. Files appear in a familiar folder system with documents, downloads, pictures, and music. At that point, many Windows users experience their first surprise. Linux actually feels usable right away. They expected hours of complicated setup, but instead they find a fully working system. Ubuntu already includes a web browser, office software, a media player, and a software store filled with applications. Instead of hunting through websites for installers, they can simply open the Software Center and search for the program they want. A single click installs it. No random pop-ups. No bundled junk software. No mysterious background installers asking for permission. For someone coming from Windows, this can be a small but powerful revelation. But the real Linux moment usually arrives when the user begins to notice how different the overall system philosophy is. Windows often feels like a product owned by a company. Linux feels more like a system owned by the user. The difference might sound abstract at first, but it becomes obvious through everyday interactions. Updates in Ubuntu, for example, appear quietly and install quickly. They update the entire system at once, the operating system, the applications, and the drivers, instead of scattering updates across dozens of separate installers. A Windows user who has spent years dealing with forced restarts, long update screens, and sudden interruptions might suddenly realize something. This update process feels calmer. That realization becomes one of the first hints that Linux operates differently. Another important moment happens when the user experiments with customization. Windows allows some customization, but it usually stays within strict limits. Linux, on the other hand, invites exploration. The user might start with Ubuntu's default GNOME desktop, and then discover that they can change themes, adjust layouts, or install extensions that modify the entire interface. Then they discover something even more surprising. They can install completely different desktop environments. This is often the moment where curiosity truly ignites. Someone might install Linux Mint and notice that the Cinnamon desktop looks surprisingly familiar, almost like a modern version of classic Windows. The panel sits comfortably at the bottom of the screen. The application menu behaves like a traditional start menu. Windows users who struggled with Windows 11's design changes sometimes feel immediately at home in Linux Mint, and this is where the understanding begins to deepen. The user starts to realize that Linux is not just one operating system. It's an ecosystem of distributions. Each distribution is built around the same Linux kernel but offers its own philosophy, tools, and design choices. Ubuntu focuses on accessibility and community support. Linux Mint focuses on familiarity and ease of use. Fedora emphasizes cutting-edge technology and modern development. Debian prioritizes stability and reliability. For a long-time Windows user, this concept can feel strange at first. They're used to one official operating system version controlled by one company. But with Linux, the variety reveals something important. Choice is built into the system. And eventually, that realization leads to another moment of clarity. The user understands that Linux is not trying to imitate Windows. It's trying to give control back to the user. Another turning point often happens when the Windows user notices how lightweight Linux can be. Perhaps they install Linux Mint or Ubuntu on an older laptop that struggled to run modern versions of Windows. Suddenly, the system feels fast again. Programs open quickly. The desktop responds instantly. Fans run quietly instead of constantly spinning. The user begins to understand something surprising. The hardware didn't become slow, the software simply became heavier. This realization can completely reshape how someone thinks about computers. For years, they believed upgrading hardware was the only solution. But Linux demonstrates that efficient software can extend the life of existing machines dramatically. Then comes another discovery: privacy. Many Windows users gradually become aware that modern operating systems collect various forms of data. Telemetry, usage statistics, and background services often send information back to corporate servers. Some users don't mind this, but others start to question it. When they explore Linux distributions like Fedora or Debian, they notice something refreshing. The system doesn't revolve around data collection. The code is open source. Anyone can inspect it. Anyone can modify it. And suddenly the user understands why transparency matters. But perhaps the most powerful Linux moment arrives when the user encounters the terminal for the first time and realizes it isn't as scary as they thought. In Windows, the command prompt often feels like a relic from the past. Most users avoid it entirely. But in Linux, the terminal feels different. It's not mandatory, but it's powerful. Instead of clicking through endless menus, a single command can install programs, update the system, or configure software instantly. The user might type something simple like updating the system with one command. Within seconds, the entire system updates. No separate installers. No reboot cycles. And that's when the realization happens. The terminal isn't a burden, it's a shortcut. Many Windows users suddenly understand why developers and power users love Linux. The system feels transparent. Instead of hiding processes behind layers of interfaces, Linux exposes them in ways that are understandable and controllable. Another moment of clarity often appears when the user searches online for help. In the Windows world, troubleshooting often involves vague forum posts or outdated guides. But in the Linux world, many solutions are straightforward commands shared by the community. The user discovers that thousands of people around the world contribute tutorials, guides, and open documentation. Linux isn't just software, it's a collaborative culture. This realization transforms the experience from simply using an operating system into participating in a community. And once the user understands that, something interesting happens. They stop asking, "Can Linux replace Windows?" Instead, they start asking, "Which Linux distribution fits my needs best?" That question opens the door to exploration. Some users experiment with Fedora and discover how polished and modern the GNOME desktop can feel. Others try Debian and appreciate its legendary stability. Some explore Arch-based distributions and begin learning how Linux systems are built from the ground up. Every new distribution reveals another perspective on what a computer can be. And slowly, the Windows user who once feared Linux begins to feel comfortable navigating it. The file system structure starts making sense. Software installation becomes second nature. System updates feel routine instead of disruptive. Then one day, something subtle happens. They boot back into Windows, and it suddenly feels strange. The update prompts feel intrusive. The interface feels restrictive. The system feels heavier than they remembered. And that's the exact moment when the Windows user truly gets Linux. They realize that Linux isn't trying to be Windows. It offers a different philosophy entirely, one based on openness, control, efficiency, and choice. This doesn't mean every Windows user immediately abandons Windows forever. Many people still rely on Windows for specific software, professional tools, or gaming compatibility. But once someone understands Linux, they view their computer differently. They know there is another option. They know their computer can run an operating system built by a global community rather than a single corporation. They know that systems like Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Fedora, and Debian exist as powerful alternatives that respect the user's freedom. And that understanding is the real Linux moment. It's not about memorizing commands or mastering technical knowledge. It's about recognizing that the computer belongs to the user, not the other way around. Once that realization happens, Linux stops being mysterious. It stops being intimidating. It simply becomes another way to use a computer, one that many people eventually find surprisingly empowering. And for countless former Windows users around the world, that single moment of understanding becomes the beginning of a completely new relationship with technology.